Hi guys, happy Friday. So we're at the end of our week. Today is Friday, May 8th, 2020, and I'm going to go over what you're going to be doing today. So for reading, you will be, let me make it see. Oh, hopefully that made it brighter. So you will be doing a reading lesson today with Miss Squillis, and she's going to be talking about characters responding to problems. This is something you've done quite a few times, and this is going to be one of the last activities we do, talking about how characters respond to problems and how we can use that to kind of learn more about the character and then predict what they're going to do in the story. So she's going to go through a lesson. She's going to read a passage, answer questions, and kind of model what you will be doing. So when you are asked, just to kind of go over what that means when a character responds. When a character responds to a problem, we don't want to say, as the reader, we don't want to say, oh, they responded by talking or they responded by saying words. Now, that is something that does kind of, I understand that understanding with response, like responses when we say something to someone or to a question. But when you're talking about character's response, you're talking about what they're saying or doing when the problem is happening. So, like for example, with Frog and Toad, a lot of times, like when Frog or Toad's bedroom was messy, what was his response? What did Frog and Toad do when they were faced with this problem? Not like, oh, they just talked. Well, Frog encouraged Toad to clean it up and told him he should do it today. And Toad complained about the mess and then started to do it one by one because then he wouldn't have to do it tomorrow. Okay. So it's more about what is the character saying or doing when the problem is happening. So then for your activity, you're going to listen to Smiley Shark. And when you click this, it'll go open to a video of a read aloud on YouTube. And then once you have listened to the story, you're going to answer these questions. And I'll just pull up the questions real quick. So once you listen to the video, they're going to have these questions. So at the beginning of the story, Smiley Shark wanted to make friends with the other fish. Why would the other fish not become his friend? So you might need to use the story. The fish would not become his friends because what happened? Okay. Number 2, how did Smiley Shark feel when the other fish kept swimming away from him? Number 3, what problem did the other fish have that Smiley Shark helped them with? Number 4, what did Smiley Shark do to help the other fish? And number 5, at the end of the story, did Smiley Shark and the other fish become friends? So you could print this out and answer it, or you could always just number a piece of paper and answer. Don't forget to really pay attention to the story events, to take what the characters are saying or doing in the events to answer the questions, and to try and restate your answer or the question in your answer. So instead of like at the first one, why would the other fish not become his friends? Don't just answer, oh, because he's mean. I'm just making this up, but no, because he's mean. Say they would not become his friends because, then answer it. So restate, then answer, okay, to give that full, complete sentence. And then you'll upload that to your class dojo. And then here for math, you are going to do another lesson with Miss Shouter. So make sure to have a piece of paper or some scrap paper so you can do your review, follow along in the model, do the guided, and then always do your quick check, and you can send me a picture of your quick check. Once you do the lesson, always come back and do the activity. Today is your even/odd numbers and arrays quiz. So you are going to click this and it's going to take you directly to the quiz. You've done these before where you put your name in, you're going to pick me as your teacher. And then here you can see there's going to be different questions about odd and even, some array questions. So once you finish that, you'll submit it. The scores will go to Miss Bahar at first because she made the quiz. So then she'll send me your results. So I won't make a Class Dojo portfolio folder for this. You can send me a picture that you took it. That's up to you, but she will send me who took it and what they got on it. So don't worry about that. And then before you take the quiz, though, look here. There's an optional review for the quiz using Kahoot. So you can play Kahoot by yourself and do a little review quiz, and you could probably play it as many times as you need to really get that review and then take the quiz. Okay. So the optional review for the quiz, the Kahoot, I would highly, highly recommend doing. Okay. So one other thing I wanted to go over just real quick again was review a little bit about arrays, because as you can see in the lesson, it says arrays, and in parentheses here, it says misconceptions. And that's a big word for kind of like misunderstanding something or being confused. And misconceptions are things that can happen easily. Like they happen frequently. People have misconceptions about this, and we want to make sure we don't get those things confused. So one thing that you will see in the lesson is some things about arrays that we might get confused is like the numbers to add up to the equal group. So let's look at this array. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 apples. So let me get my tools. So there's 12 apples in all. So some people, and this is kind of an example from the math lesson with Miss Schauder, but some people might write, well, I know how to skip count to 12 with twos, and they might write their repeated addition like this. 2, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now, this is very similar to what the modeled will be in Miss Schauder's lesson, but I just want to go over it real quick. So clearly, if someone made this as a repeated addition sentence, yes, it equals 12, and that is how many apples we have here. But this sentence does not match this array, and it has to match the array. And remember what we talked about is that kind of like the two parts that you need to know about making a repeated addition sign is you need to know how many rows you have. And then the second thing you need to know is how many items, or in this case, apples, are in each row. Because then if I'm looking at the rows and making my repeat addition sign to actually match this, I'm going to be adding a number, the amount of times I have rows. So I have 1, 2, 3 rows. So I'm going to be adding 3 times. So I have blank plus blank plus blank. I have 3 blanks because I have 3 rows. Now the number that goes in those blanks is the number of items in each row. How many do I have? 1 apple, 2, 3, 4. So then I'm adding 4 apples in that row, 4 apples in the next row, 4 apples in that row to get 12. So this actually matches my array while this one does not. And it's the same steps for columns. So you want to then look at the columns. How many columns do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So then that means I'm going to be adding a number 4 times because I have 4 columns. 1 column plus another column plus my third column plus my fourth column. Same thing as I did with my rows now. I need to see how many items are in each column because that's the actual number I'm adding. So let me get a different color. Let's go with like a lighter blue. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3 apples in this column. 1, 2, 3 apples in this column. 1, 2, 3 apples in this column. 1, 2, and 3. So I have 3 apples in each column. So that means I'm going to be adding 3 apples for this column, 3 apples here, 3 apples plus 3 apples. And again, 3 plus 3 gives me 6. This gives me 6. And in total, that gives me the 12 apples. And that is also what I got here. But 2 plus 2 plus 2 does not match this array because what this number sentence is saying is that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows or columns, and that there's 2 apples in each row or column, which clearly that's not what this array is showing. So those are just two like hints or steps you can take as you're looking at an array and making repeated addition, or looking at repeated addition and having to draw an array. The number of times you are adding is either the number of rows or the number of columns you have, and the number that you're adding is the number in each row or each column. I know it's really tricky, but I was just hoping that would help. So make sure to review with your Kahoot, and then do your quiz, and I will get your scores from Ms. Bahar, and that is it for this Friday. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.